today we are going to do the championship case for Denny Hamlin, but before we get into that, I have completed my 2021 NASCAR Cup Series playoff bracket, and tomorrow afternoon I will post the video, post every single detail, my playoff predictions, thoughts, all that stuff will be up tomorrow. I will be working on that in the afternoon. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. So get ready for that, prepare for that. But today we're going to continue the championship cases with the guy who is 7th on the grid, Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin led the points for the majority of the year up until Kyle Larson took the regular season points lead late in the season and won the regular season title. Hamlin has been extremely consistent this season and has yet to win, but still, as I said, has been extremely consistent. He has 13 top 5s, 17 top 10s, which is good for second in the Cup Series in those numbers. He's led some laps this year. He's going to lead a good bunch of laps. He has 5 stage wins, a total of 15 playoff points. The biggest thing against Hamlin this year is that lack of wins. We talk about playoff points and how important they are in this system, in this format. And Hamlin, unlike last year, has not gotten a ton of them. Last year he had 7 wins. He had won a bunch of stages, so he had a ton of playoff points and was able to get through those first couple of rounds pretty easy. But this year he's done really good. He's been really consistent, but he has not gotten those points. Now we are down to that part of the season where it's a 3-race season, a 3-race season, a 3-race season. And then if you make the championship four, it's 1 race for your season. So Hamlin, he's only got 15 playoff points, which is my biggest concern for him. But let's go and look at the schedule. First round, I'm not concerned about at all. Darlington, Hamlin's been really good at. He won there last year. He's won the Southern 500 a couple of times. So I'm not concerned about that race. Richmond, he's won at before, his home track. He's done really well there, so not concerned about that one either. Bristol, he's done well at in the past. So, I mean, these are 3 races I'm not concerned about for Hamlin. He'll do fine in this first round. I think he advances pretty easily. The second round, Las Vegas, Talladega, and the Roval. He is the defending winner of the Talladega Fall race. He is one of the best, if not the best, superspeedway racers in NASCAR currently. So I expect him, Ryan Blaney, those are the 2 best in my opinion right now. So I expect them to be up front leading laps in that race, contending for the stage wins. And assuming Denny Hamlin can avoid the chaos, the big one, I think he'll do fine. I think he'll do enough in Las Vegas and the Roval to advance. Las Vegas last year in that race did really good, led a ton of laps. I don't think he's won at Las Vegas in his career, but he has done well there before, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then as for the Roval, Hamlin's a pretty decent road racer, and I think he is consistent enough that they can put together some top 10s in that second round to get through. But yeah. And obviously, even though he hasn't won this year, he's still Denny Hamlin. He has over 40 career Cup wins. He hasn't won a championship yet, but he has won at all different types of racetracks. So Denny Hamlin will be competing for multiple wins throughout the playoffs this year, and I think that he could, in fact, do it anytime. I mean, seriously, any one of these races he could win. I would not be shocked. So, in fact, I do expect him to win a race or 2 in the playoffs, despite him not winning in the first 26. So, I think, once again, that second round, I'm not extremely concerned about. He's really good at super speedways. He's decent on the road courses. In Las Vegas, he'll be fine at. So, yeah, that second round, I'm really not that concerned for Hamlin. The round of 8 is a good round for Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, I mean, he's been good everywhere in his career, it seems like. Texas, Kansas, and Martinsville. Texas, he has a few wins at. He won there in 2019. Let's see, Kansas, he won 2019 and 2020, and probably before that, but those are the most recent wins. And then Martinsville, of course, he has a handful of wins, 4, 5, 6 wins at Martinsville. He has won a good bit there. So I expect him to do well at these races. Martinsville in the spring, he was running well in that race, led a good amount of laps, but was passed late for the win by his teammate, Martin Truex Jr., so I expect him to be in the top 5 of that race leading laps, getting stage points, competing for the win. And then for Texas and Kansas, Joe Gibbs Racing has been really, really good on the 1.5 miles, the intermediate tracks, the 550 package tracks. Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole has been really, really good this year on those 550 tracks. Hamlin being one of the ones leading the way, leading laps, winning stages, all that fun stuff. So I do expect Hamlin to do well there at Texas and Kansas, but my biggest problem for him here is the playoff point situation. He is currently behind in the playoff points. If he makes it to the round of 8, which I expect him to do, I am concerned for him in this aspect because of the lack of playoff points. I mean, you've got guys ahead of you. You've got your teammates in Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. Well, I guess he's tied with Bowman, but still, these are guys who, they have been winning this year. They've been getting more playoff points. Once again, I think Hamlin can win at any week of the year, but I feel like I've been saying it's going to be any week now that Hamlin wins, and it still hasn't happened. I've been saying it since April, but it still hasn't happened. So Hamlin, he does need to win. He needs to win a race. He needs to win some stages. He needs to get more playoff points to close the gap on that cutoff for 4th with Elliott, Kyle Busch, Blaney, Truex, Bowman. He needs to, once again, Bowman tied, but whatever. He needs to cut that gap by winning some races, getting some playoff points, and he has some great opportunities in the playoffs. These are some tracks that he's been really good at. He's run well at recently and throughout his career, so he needs to take advantage, get some wins, get some of those playoff points in those earlier rounds so that in this round, he's not potentially in a must-win at Martinsville. But if he is able to get some playoff points, if he is able to run well enough to, be right with those guys like Chase Elliott, like Kyle Busch, like Martin Truex Jr., if he's able to do that, this round could be good for him. As I said, he has won at all 3 tracks. 2 of them have been within the last 2 years, and Martinsville is a track he's won at a good amount of time, so he could really get himself a win if he wanted to. But yeah, that round of 8, it is a good round for him. Honestly, it really is. Texas, he's had success throughout his career, even with the repave, even with the changing of the packages. He's done well. He's won. So I expect him to do well there, especially with Joe Gibbs' success. Kansas, it's the same thing. He's won the last 2 years with the same package. They haven't done anything to the track, so I expect him to do well there. Martinsville, it's chaos. It's a short track, but I think he can do well enough. So if he is in a deficit on points, these will most likely need to be top 5 runs in order to make it through points, because remember, if 3 guys win in this elimination, or whatever they call it, the round of 8, there's only 1 point spot. So Hamlin's going to be fighting with, 4 other guys for that last point spot. And let's say, someone behind him wins, like someone like William Byron wins a race, or let's say Kevin Harvick wins a race in the round of 8 to make it to the championship 4. That bumps the cutoff, and that could put Hamlin in even more of a deficit to where he has to win at Martinsville. So that is my biggest concern for Hamlin, the points. But I do expect him to run well in this round. If there's not any chaotic winners, he could go to the championship 4. Phoenix, now, got to bring it up. He hasn't done it yet. Hamlin has been in prime position to win a NASCAR Cup Series championship multiple times. 2010, he had an opportunity in 2014, 2019, and 2020. He is not locked in yet, but you keep thinking it's got to happen at some point. Denny Hamlin is a championship caliber driver. You cannot deny it, no matter how much you don't like him, or how much, if you like him or don't like him. You've got to admit he is a championship caliber driver. You don't go out and win 40-plus races, 3 Daytona 500s, winning at all different types of racetracks, and not be a championship driver. So it's got to happen eventually, yes, but Phoenix is a track that Hamlin has won at in the past couple of years. Remember, in 2019, he had to win at Phoenix in order to advance to the championship 4, and he did just that. Last year, Hamlin was in the championship 4 race at Phoenix, and he was the weakest out of the bunch. But Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole has been really good this year. I mean, they're always really good, but they won the race earlier this year with Martin Truex Jr. They've won races with Kyle Busch in the past couple of years, with Denny Hamlin. So I expect Joe Gibbs Racing to run well at Phoenix. I expect them to be up front. But it's going to be difficult to beat his teammates like Truex and Kyle Busch. It's going to be difficult to beat Kyle Larson, who's been so dominant this year. So he may need some help, but if they put together the right race car, they put together a complete race, everything goes right, they could get it done. This could be the year. Hamlin has been really good this year. He has yet to win a race, but he could be the guy that breaks the system. He could be the guy that gets into the championship 4 winless, 1 win, maybe even just 2 wins, and wins the whole thing with minimum wins. And that would kind of shock the world. You know, it wouldn't be a Mickey Mouse championship because Hamlin's been really good this year. He's been really consistent. He's been first or second in the points all year long, so it would be a deserving championship. So if Hamlin can keep up his consistency, I think he can do it. I think he can get to the championship 4, and then obviously anything can happen in that championship 4 race. But to wrap things up, Hamlin, you got to get more playoff points. You got to get some wins. You got to get some stage wins. Whatever it takes, you need to get more points to close the gaps on the competitors. First and second rounds, I'm not concerned about. That third round concerns me only because of the points deficit compared to the other guys, but I think he can close it, and I think that's a good round for him. And then obviously Phoenix, it's a championship race. Chaos. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. As I said, full playoff prediction tomorrow, so make sure to check that out. Yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day.